Hello class. In the previous lecture, we have gone through a real trail and the ground trail. Now in this lecture, we will see what are the further type of trail or the classification of the ground trail is there and which is affecting on the steering geometry or which is affecting on the overall balance or overall directional stability of the vehicle. So there are three type of trail condition can be possible in case of the front wheel such as a now front wheel means the steering जो भी हमारा steering handle bar होता है that is located on the front wheel only. So directional stability or directional sensitivity जो होता है that will depend on a front wheel only. So जो भी हमारा front ground trail है that plays a very important role for the directional stability and the sensitivity. So in case of the front wheel front ground trail there may be a three cases. Okay, so as I told you, what is a front ground trail? Okay, ground trail is nothing but the distance between intersection point of steering axis and the intersection point of vertical axis with the ground surface. So इन दोनों के intersection point के बीच में का जो distance है that is nothing but the what ground trail. Now there may be a two cases. Okay, one is the positive ground trail. Sorry, there may be three cases. One is a positive ground trail, second is a zero ground trail, and third one is a negative ground trail. Okay, so what is a positive ground trail? When tire patch contact, when tire patch contact located behind the imaginary point made by intersection of steering axis and ground surface, then it is called it as a positive trail. In simple word, we can say if this distance, this trail, ground trail, is located in front of vertical axis steering point. Okay, listen carefully. When we can understand by this definition also, but uh, beyond this definition, we can remember in this manner also. Whenever the ground trail of front wheel if lies in front of intersection point of vertical axis with the ground, that time it is called as a positive trail. Okay, this is a positive trail and this one is also positive trail. Only the difference is that here the positive trail is somewhat less as compared to this one. So for example, if it here a positive trail is 20 mm, then here it may be a 30 mm, but it is a positive trail in case of this one and this one. Now what is a zero trail? When the intersection point of steering axis and the vertical axis lie at the tire patch contact. मतलब टायर का जो कॉन्टैक्ट पैच है रोड सरफेस के साथ उसी पॉइंट पे अगर स्टीयरिंग एक्सिस एंड द वर्टिकल एक्सिस दोनों इंटरसेक्ट हो रहे हैं ओके ग्राउंड के साथ, देन वी आर गेटिंग अ जीरो ट्रेल. ओके, इट इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. okay, this thing and this thing is okay, we can accept. Why? Because here also we are getting the positive trail, here also we are getting a positive trail. Only the difference is that here positive trail having a magnitude 20 mm, here it having a 30 mm, but it is a positive trail. भले इधर 20 mm है, then also it is a positive trail. Now what is a negative trail? When a ground trail is lie behind the intersection point of vertical axis with the ground surface. Now this is a ground trail. What is definition of ground trail? It is a distance measured in between intersection point of steering axis and the vertical axis with the ground surface. मतलब steering axis का जो intersection point है ground axis के साथ ground surface के साथ और vertical axis का जो intersection point है ground surface के साथ, इन दोनों intersection point में के बीच का जो distance है उसको ground trail बोलते हैं. Okay, so now this is a ground trail, but whenever ground trail is lie behind the vertical axis intersection point, then it is called as a negative trail. Here also when the ground trail is lie in front of the intersection point of vertical axis intersection point with ground surface, मतलब vertical axis जो है जहाँ intersect हो रहा है ground के साथ उसके front में अगर trail है then it's called as a positive trail. but यहाँ क्या है वो यहाँ वो उसके behind है. So trail is present, ground trail is present behind the intersection point of vertical axis and the ground surface, so it's called as a negative trail. But negative trail we can't prefer. Okay, सो नेगेटिव ट्रेल हम प्रेफर कर नहीं कर सकते. सो दैट्स वाई so that is a condition: positive trail, zero trail, and the negative trail. So normally optimum amount of positive trail prefer in case of the two wheelers, and front trail 50 mm to 100 mm होता है और rear trail 1300 to 1500. 1300 to 1500 is nothing but it is itself, it means that it is somewhat greater than the wheelbase. Okay, it is somewhat greater than the wheelbase. Okay, so wheelbase जो होता है वही टू व्हीलर का, it may lie in between this range only. Okay, so front rail होता है that is prefer up to 50 mm to 100, and that should be a positive. मतलब जो हमारा ट्रेल है वो ऑलवेज हमारे वर्टिकल एक्सेस के इंटरसेक्शन पॉइंट है ग्राउंड सरफेस है उसके फ्रंट में लाई होना चाहिए, उसके बिहाइंड में नहीं. बिकॉज व्हेन इट लाई बिहाइंड द your intersection point, जो negative effect होते हैं that we will see in the next lecture. But that you have to remember here, we should prefer a positive trail in case of the two wheeler, positive ground trail. Okay, that's it. Thank you.